She is a fitness instructor, a motivational speaker, and an author. This is her new book called Stop the Insanity. Here she is, Queen of the infomercials, Susan Powter, ladies and gentlemen.
Susan Powter enjoyed immense success as a fitness guru in the 1990s, rising to fame with Stop the Insanity. She also hosted The Susan Powter Show and authored numerous diet and weight loss books. Through her infomercial, she promoted a healthy diet and exercise and backed up her claims with her very own before and after photos. This authenticity established Susan as a household name, and it led to her getting a manager and having partners willing to invest in an exercise studio and possibly a clothing line. And then it all ended. So how did she go from an early fitness influencer and millionaire to being bankrupt?
Lose up to 10 pounds in 10 days. Sensational weight loss plan.
Disappear overnight. Party 300 calories.
In 1980, Susan Powter and her family moved to Dallas, Texas. There, she met her first husband, Nick, and they were married in 1982. They welcomed 2 sons into their family, and shortly after the birth of their second son, Susan discovered that Nick was having an affair. The couple separated in 1986, and Susan turned to food for comfort, causing her weight to balloon from 130 pounds to 260 pounds. Frustrated by ineffective diet books and workout videos, she eventually lost all of the weight by walking daily and eliminating sugar and processed foods. It was a pretty simple plan to follow. Then in 1988, her mother passed away, leaving Susan with an inheritance. She used that money to open up her own fitness studio in Dallas, and that was what started it all. In 1990, she partnered with Dallas publicist Rusty Robertson to promote her business. Robertson was captivated by Powter's dynamic personality, and he secured her spots on radio talk shows, which then helped her land a book deal. Together, they created an infomercial for her Stop the Insanity health and wellness kit.
At 260 pounds, I learned how to stop the insanity.
The catchphrase became synonymous with her and helped her reach an audience far beyond Dallas. Fans eagerly spent the $79 on her program, which included recipes, workout tips, and motivational audio cassettes. Susan became a cultural phenomenon, known for her booming voice and high-energy delivery. She was spoofed on Saturday Night Live and featured on People magazine's Most Intriguing People list in 1993. By 1994, she was hosting The Susan Powter Show, a talk show-style program that ran for 1 season.
Diets don't work. Now, I lost 133 pounds, but I didn't go from a fat person to a thin person. That's not what happened. I went from an unfit person to a fit person, and there's not anybody in this room who can't do that.
Susan was one of the world's first true influencers at the dawn of what we now call the social media era, says actress Jamie Lee Curtis, who is the executive producer of an upcoming documentary about Susan called Stop the Insanity: Finding Susan Powter. Despite her company being profitable, Susan became dissatisfied with the 50-50 partnership agreement she had signed with her business associates. Legal disputes ensued, and her partners filed countersuits. By 1995, she had to declare bankruptcy. The 90s were filled with nothing but lawsuits, she recalled. Frustrated by the lack of control, she ended her TV contract and moved to Seattle. In Seattle, she continued teaching fitness classes, but embraced a more simple, free-spirited life, away from the spotlight. During this time, Susan continued to earn money from her popular program, but she admitted that she didn't manage her own money. Someone else was handling that. And after years of never checking balances, it was all gone, and she was left with no property and no savings. So at this point, she moved into an RV and began living a pretty destitute life, a far cry from where she had been a decade earlier. In 2018, it was reported that Susan moved out of her RV and into a low-budget Las Vegas apartment complex, where she paid her rent weekly. To make ends meet, she began delivering for Grubhub and Uber Eats, trying her best to earn at least $80 each day. A health scare prompted Powter to apply for Social Security benefits in 2019, and that provided her another lifeline of $1,500 per month. Those who say money can't buy happiness are wrong, she says. It wasn't just happiness, it was survival. I could finally breathe again. Last November, a filmmaker approached her with the idea of a documentary about her incredible life. She was all for it, and quite frankly surprised by the interest. Jamie Lee Curtis added, "Susan's power and light were diminished, denigrated, and dismissed, but her story deserves to be told." Encouraged by this renewed interest, Susan turned her journal into a memoir and started saving obsessively. She's planning to relaunch her fitness brand on social media, start a podcast, and offer exclusive live streaming content. With her small savings, she hopes to buy another RV so that she can travel the country, meet fans, and sell her book. "I'm not looking to rebuild a fitness empire," Susan explained. "I want to communicate, write books, and live modestly. If success comes, it will be carefully managed for my children and me. My goal is to give back what belonged to them." And she also understands that immediate change in her life is very unlikely, which is why she continues to deliver food for Uber Eats. She says, "I've completed a total of 4,800 trips, and I am dedicated to it. I take pride in the effort I invest." As she prepares for this next chapter, Susan remains determined. "I'm relying on one thing, myself," she says. For her, this new phase represents a chance to reclaim her voice, her vision, and her place in the world. Let me know in the comments if I missed anything, and please consider subscribing and sharing Recollection Road Entertainment with someone you know. As always, thank you so much for watching.